Story of my life.
Hey, hello. Check, check, check. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Do you have me? Okay.
Let me know. And why do I look real low? Oh, hello. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yay.
Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Eric Chilton and Dehasia Moyes this Tuesday. Remember, this is an interactive show built to connect you with your community and us. So join our conversation. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. You can find us live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
We'll continue analyzing our data and indicators as we determine how to move forward safely in other areas that may be included in the new order on October the 2nd. In it, we hope to ease some other restrictions while keeping in place safety protocols like masks and social distancing.
Governor Roy Cooper says North Carolina is on track to ease more restrictions and another step closer to going into phase 3 next Friday. He and Health Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen say key metrics in our state continue to trend down.
In the coming days, large outdoor venues will be allowed to open at 7% capacity. Now, this applies to venues able to host more than 10,000 people. $40 million will also go towards helping small business recovery. And State Health Department Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen announced the launch of Slow COVID NC app. This app uses Bluetooth to inform users if they've been exposed to coronavirus. We'll explain how it works in detail coming up at 4:30.
This weekend's Duke's Mayo Classic Bowl game between Wake Forest and Notre Dame is now postponed. 7 Notre Dame players tested positive for the coronavirus. 94 players in all were tested. Notre Dame is now pausing all football activities. Both teams are working to reschedule that game.
Both presidential campaigns are coming to Charlotte this week. Democratic nominee Joe Biden will be in the Queen City tomorrow. It's his first trip to our state since the primaries. Details of the visit are still to come. And President Trump is also heading to Charlotte on Thursday. This will be his 5th visit in the last month. His campaign says he'll focus on his administration's action and vision for low health care costs.
President Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, will be in the Triad this evening in Summerfield. The Women for Trump bus tour is making a stop at 7 p.m. at Bugle Boy Farm. Doors will open at 6. WFMY News 2 will have more on this event tonight on WFMY News 2 at 11. Election Day is just 42 days away, and today is National Voter Registration Day. There is a nationwide push to get people ready and registered early. WFMY News 2's Adoria Chumba has more on what's going on to get you to the polls.
This election year is quite different from all others because it's happening right in the middle of a pandemic, and it's changing the way organizers are getting the message across to potential voters about how to register to vote.
We know that young voters, 18 to 25, but especially young first-time voters, represent the largest and most diverse coalition of potential voters in the history of our country.
That's why social media platforms are pushing out the message to get registered to vote. Organizers are sending emails and text messages and also relying on people tapping into their personal networks.
To make sure that their friends, their clubs, their classmates, people that they were in lab with years ago are registered to vote.
Employers like Old Navy and Cone Health are also giving workers time to vote. Cone Health leaders said they didn't want employees to choose between earning a paycheck and performing a civic duty.
For those who can't vote before or after their workday, which we recognize is a challenge for many people in healthcare, we're granting up to 2 hours of paid time off. So anyone who wants to go out and vote, they can do so during normal polling hours.
And you have until October 9 to register to vote. You can fill out an application on the Board of Elections website and mail it to your County Board of Elections office or register through the DMV's website.
Adore, thank you. Again, 42 days away, but there are some other deadlines to keep in mind. First, to register to vote, that deadline is October 9th. In-person early voting starts on October 15th. It ends on Halloween, and you can register to vote at all early voting sites and vote on the same day that you register. That is for early voting only. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 27th, and you can find all of this information again on our website.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. The Louisville Police Department is under a state of emergency ahead of a decision in the Breonna Taylor case. The declaration means the department will only operate on emergency staffing, and that cancels all days off and previously approved vacation days. The emergency announcement does not extend to the city itself. Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman in EMT, was shot and killed in her house when officers executed a no-knock search warrant in March. There's a temporary funding bill on the table that could prevent a partial government shutdown. The current budget expires at the end of the month, but the bill, proposed by Democrats, would fund programs through December 11th, past the election and any changes in Washington. Democrats and Republicans are caught on one thing, a provision that would give the Trump administration continued authority to dole out Agriculture Department money to bail out farmers. Democrats say the administration is favoring key swing states when distributing money. And back here in the Triad, one of the Triad's largest events and moneymakers, the High Point Furniture Market, will have virtual events this year. It's part of a push to eliminate large in-person group gatherings during the pandemic. From October 13th through the 21st, there will be a virtual keynote series. Then after the fall market, they'll host live online meetings to recap the event. All the sessions will happen on Zoom. The UK is going backwards, reimposing some restrictions as COVID-19 cases rise. The new rules in England include a 15-person cap on weddings and a £200 fine for breaking the law on gatherings and not wearing a mask. In Scotland, there's a 10 p.m. curfew for bars and restaurants, and people can only interact with people they don't live with outdoors. The number of coronavirus cases in the UK rose to nearly 5,000 today, and 37 more people died.
Well, we're looking at a forecast that temperature-wise is not all that bad, but we have some rain starting to develop toward the weekend. Wouldn't you know, it'd be just in time for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But that's kind of what we're seeing in our crystal ball down the road a little bit. In the short term, 70 in Greensboro, 69 in Winston-Salem. We have Burlington at 71 along with High Point. Asheboro, you're at 67 as well. Tonight, dropping down to 50, so not quite as cold as the last couple of mornings, but still very chilly. A few clouds here or there, mostly sunny tomorrow. It is a beautiful day. If you thought today was good, tomorrow right on par. In fact, even a little warmer at that 76-degree reading. When you look at the satellite and radar combination, there's not a whole lot to see over our area, but if you look west and south, yeah, here comes a bunch of moisture heading in our direction again, probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we're keeping those rain chances anywhere between a 20 and 40% chance. Not a huge washout, but still an increased chance. We'll talk about the temperatures going through the weekend in just a little bit.
Earlier this summer, if you walked around downtown Greensboro, you may have seen the murals left in the wake of racial justice protests following the death of George Floyd. Well, now many of those murals have a new home. The Greensboro History Museum wants to preserve that part of history, so they are opening up a new exhibit this Saturday called Pieces of Now. I spoke with the curator about the message they hope you take away.
You know, somebody in 2040, 2050, or 2080 is going to look back and say, what was it like to be around in 2020 in Greensboro?
That's the question the Greensboro History Museum seeks to answer with their newest exhibit, Pieces of Now, Murals, Masks, Community Stories, and Conversations.
We can't completely represent all the dynamics that took place this summer. And so we knew we needed help.
The museum wants to capture the spirit around the racial protests that took place downtown, while also weaving in elements of the pandemic and economic crisis. Curator Rodney Dawson says they collaborated with community members and artists to rehome some of the murals that followed the protests.
When you walk in, it's very interactive. You'll see it's not just murals, but you're going to see clothing that was worn, the shoes that were worn out. You're going to see a lot of interviews, a lot of monitors.
Business owners, activists, artists, and law enforcement leaders were all interviewed for the exhibit, sharing all of their varying perspectives on racial justice. The exhibit was even designed with the pandemic in mind, so you don't spend too much time in one place.
Normally, when you go into a museum and you see an artifact or an object and it has some labeling on it, it's extensive. You have to sit there and take a minute or two to read it. Well, we intentionally did not want to do that. You're going to see 1 or 2 sentences tops.
Dawson says he hopes the exhibit will cause visitors to be open to different viewpoints and have tough conversations about race.
It's an attempt to tell a story and to be open to learn and open to have discussion.
Now, the Greensboro History Museum says that they plan to host a number of webinars related to the exhibit. And one thing I wanted to mention that's pretty cool about this exhibit is it's constantly being updated. So you could go on Saturday, and a month from Saturday, the exhibit would be just slightly different.
All right, well, that makes sense, Taisha, because history continues to unfold this year in 2020. You don't realize you're living through something historic until after it's over. So I'm glad that the museum recognizes that, and they've been collecting these artifacts throughout this entire situation this year.
And I love the fact that when he said this best too, that you don't need a lot of explanation. You need to know just the context and what happened, and then these pieces really speak to people for themselves. I think everybody kind of pulls out of that art what they need to without a lot of description necessary. It's a really good exhibit. The pictures were great too, Taisha, by the way. Okay, let's talk about this now. It has been a dream of Alamance Burlington school system for years, but today this finally became a reality. It took them years, literally years, to put this together. So I'm talking about a food truck that is for kids, that literally delivers the meals to their homes for folks that maybe need a little help with those meals. I spoke with Pam Bailey. She is the executive director of school nutrition for Alamance Burlington School Systems, about her idea and how they put all this together. Pam, what a great idea. When I heard about this, it made me think, like, how did this come about? Where did the idea come from for a food truck for the kids?
5 years ago, I was in Florida at a conference, and they had a food truck there on display as part of our conference. And me and Kimberly Crutchfield was there at that conference, and my thing was, oh, we need one of those in Alamance County. If I had one of those, I could feed all the kids in the world in Alamance County. And so it became a dream for me. And I come back and I kept going, oh, I'm getting a food truck. I don't know how much it costs, but I'm going to get a food truck.
So tell me what this truck will do day in and day out. And I know today's the launch day, so this is exciting for you guys. So what can we expect to see out on the streets?
You can expect to see me, the driver, and I just learned to drive it yesterday. We will go to where the bus is right now, because we're in remote learning. So right now, the buses we have 23 buses that are doing routes, but some of the kids are still in Zoom when the buses reach there. So we have decided we're going to go out to where the kids are on break, and we're going to get those areas to make the kids, the meals available for the kids. We had been doing it all last week with our van, but our van isn't MAC, and we think MAC is going to bring that attention because it is kid friendly. It says come get a meal, and I don't know, it draws them in. And we know, and I always get emotional with this part, because there are a lot of kids in Alamance County that need these meals. So right now today we're gonna launch it over into some of our areas we know we're not needing, but we're going to take it farther than that as we go forward.
I think I envision like the ice cream truck, you know, kids will see this come and they'll just come running from all over. Pam, it's a great idea, good work, and finally it's all come to fruition. Yeah, she's done great work, and you could tell when I spoke with her this morning how her heart was really in this, and they find it took a long time. And think about it, this idea is perfect now, but they had this idea years before the pandemic. More information for this on our website. Look for this story on WFNYnews2.com.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Why is it so close? I'm trying to fix my light. Hold on.
And can you make sure that you don't have our live stream up somewhere?
Yeah, it's not on.
Okay, I'd like to check your shot.
Okay, we're ready. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. It is the first day of fall. Maybe you've already decorated your house with some fall candles or maybe a wreath. But what if you could only pick one thing to love about fall? Would you choose pumpkin pie, a fall scented candle, maybe a pumpkin spice latte, or all of those fun decorations? Our social media guru, Jalen Gilkey, is back with us today. All right, Jalen, I have to ask you first, which one do you prefer? And then what are the people saying?
All right, well, personally, only thing pumpkin I like are pumpkin seeds roasted. So there's that. And second of all, it was an overwhelming landslide. Pumpkin pie won. I mean, it's the people's favorite. But we jump into our first comment. It comes from Susan. She says she voted for pumpkin pie. Our next comment comes from Sharon. She voted pumpkin lattes, pumpkin spice lattes probably. Alicia, she says pumpkin decorations for the kids. Got to make the kids happy. And Melody, she says none, don't like pumpkin flavored anything. And I'm right there with you, Melody. Just give me my roasted pumpkin seeds.
I had some pumpkin seeds yesterday, Tahisha. Not as much of a fan of pumpkin seeds as I am a pumpkin scented candle or even pumpkin pie.
Yeah, but did you put it with the cinnamon and the sugar, or was it just kind of like the inside of the pumpkin seed? Because that's not as good.
It was just salted, roasted. I don't know. I got it in a bag.
Oh, yeah, you got to get it homemade. That's when it tastes really good. I was looking at these choices, and for me, it's got to be the pumpkin pie. I'm a sweets person. I love to put the whipped cream on top. Amazing.
You know what I'm choosing over pumpkin pie, though, is sweet potato pie. I know I'm going outside of the 4 here, but it's better.
Yeah, I mean, you're close, right? Same color. People get them confused.
They absolutely do. All right, weigh in. Which one are you picking here? Join our live stream on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page. Use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll be back.
Hey there, mic check, my fine people.
All right, you know by now that it is the first day of fall, but for me, it is the first day of crock pot season. You know what I'm talking about. I spent my morning dicing up all of the veggies and throwing all of the ingredients for chicken noodle soup into my crock pot so it can do the work for me for dinner later tonight. But I wanted to know what you were cooking as the seasons change, so I went to you on my Facebook page. Let's take a look at what you had to say today. We'll start here with Linda Wilson Spring. She says, white chicken chili or any kind of chili. And honestly, Linda, I am there for that. Crystal Jerry says, chili or beef stew? I love using my crock pot for cooking. Kathy Lynch Knight said, pumpkin chili. I've never heard of that, Kathy, but send me the recipe. And Lise York Forbes said, pot roast with potatoes, onions, and carrots. That is my favorite dinner of all time. She just needs some mashed potatoes. Robin Cobb Jordan said, a slow-cooked crock pot roast for leftovers. On one night, it becomes a pot of vegetable beef soup on the next day, so you get 2 meals in one. That's smart. Summer Branson Upchurch said chicken stew in the crock pot right now. She had the same idea. And finally, birthday boy Bobby Odom, one of our 4 to 5 regulars, said homemade beef stew with fresh vegetables and a grilled cheese sandwich. And honestly, it's all about what you pair with the crock pot food. I think I need some sandwiches for tonight's chicken noodle soup.
Or you need some tortilla chips or something like that. Give it a little crunch to put on top. The first viewer who wrote the white chicken chili, that's my favorite thing to cook in the crock pot when the seasons change. And as you were reading off all the dishes, my stomach literally growled. So I'm ready for dinner. I don't know about you.
Did I take Chilton's crown today of making people hungry? Was that me?
Yes, you did. You have taken the title away from me. Is what you've done today. I will tell you this: My wife makes fun of me because I love crock pot and soups. I love how, even in the middle of summer, she's like, you're the only person I know that if it's 95 degrees out, you still want soup. I love crock pot meals, but taco soup, my wife makes this taco
Yum.
soup that you do exactly what Tahisha said with those Tostito scoops. Scoop that stuff up with cheese and sour cream on the top, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
send me that recipe too. It's been a good couple of
Both of you.
days for warm crock pot meals though, Eric, with those cooler
It has.
temperatures.
It absolutely has. Nice segue, Madison. Done like a professional. Let's take a look at the satellite and radar, shall we? I laughed because both of you went, oh, when we talked about taco soup. I agree with you. Clouds and rain are on the way, not for today or probably tomorrow, but we think by the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Will it be a washout or heavy rains? And I don't think so, but just the chance of a shower slips back into the forecast. But it will be probably variably to mostly cloudy for a couple of days. You can see that on the satellite and radar combination now. As we put this in motion, the cooler air actually kind of moves away as the high pressure gets a little more centrally located, or at least close enough to us that we get the winds out of the south. That'll warm us up to the mid 70s tomorrow. We'll be dry for a day or so, but we'll see some of that moisture start to move in our direction. So tonight, look for a low of 50, which is tomorrow morning, right? Then a high of 76 tomorrow. Here's your 7-day forecast. 74 on Thursday, still warm and comfortable, partly cloudy, a little bit of rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but highs will be in the low to mid 70s.
Hello, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner, joined by Tahisha Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon. As always, we are here to connect with you and your community. So join our conversation. You can find our live stream on WFMY News 2's Facebook page. Use our hashtag 4 to 5 and we will see you in the comment section. Well, let's get straight to it. The State Department of Health and Human Services launched a coronavirus exposure app today. You may have heard a little bit about this already, but Slow COVID NC alerts users if they've come into contact with someone who has tested positive for or been exposed to the virus. It uses Bluetooth to communicate with other devices. Phones can keep track of how long and how close you were to another person's phone. They say the app does not use personal information or collect your data. You can download it now in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store.
If you need to isolate or quarantine, the app can connect you with guidance on checking symptoms and getting support.
And that is Secretary Dr. Mandy Cohen. She is also reminding people today to go ahead and get a flu shot. The CDC is releasing new guidelines to have a safe and happy Halloween. They're providing some ideas for several safe alternatives to what they're calling high-risk activities. Let's break this down for you. The CDC says door-to-door trick-or-treating, hay rides, costume parties, and haunted houses are all high risk. Some low-risk activities include socially distanced pumpkin carving, virtual costume contests, or themed scavenger hunts. The CDC says an alternative for trick-or-treating could be making some bags of candy and setting up a grab-and-go site for families. And for haunted houses or forests, they suggest one-way travel with masks and social distancing requirements. They also released some guidelines for Dia de los Muertos, Thanksgiving, and Black Friday, and you can find all of those on our website.
So it looks like 3 NFL coaches have been fined $100,000 for not following the mask rules along the sidelines here. Sources tell the Associated Press that the coaches were fined that amount, and the teams themselves were fined $250,000 each, $250,000. Denver, San Francisco, and Seattle's head coaches all fined. The league could fine other coaches for the same violation. That includes Bill Belichick, John Gruden, and Sean Payton. Players, by the way, were exempt from that rule. The NFL did warn all teams last week about following that mask rule.
Newark's airport in New Jersey is offering coronavirus testing to travelers. The airport will be offering that testing for anyone departing or arriving there, and even employees. The goal is to make travelers feel safe again. Now, you can get a coronavirus antibody or PCR molecular test there. The tests do cost money, but the airport says most insurances will cover the testing. It's hoping to add rapid testing to the list of options in the coming weeks. And Atlanta's boys' prayer have been answered. 4-year-old Owen dropping everything he was doing to pray for his Opa's recovery from coronavirus. That's who he calls his grandfather there. So he told his mom he'd pray for Opa every day until he came home. Chuck Paulus says his entire family had coronavirus as soon as the pandemic reached Georgia. Everyone recovered and went home, but Paulus stayed in the hospital for 100 days. Paulus finally came home from the hospital and recently celebrated his 40th wedding anniversary and the birth of his new grandchild.
Let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup. A new 3-week lockdown was imposed in Israel on Friday as a hopeful attempt to slow the daily number of COVID-19 cases there. Hospitals are now warning that they could soon reach capacity. New cases have reached daily highs of more than 5,000, sharply rebounding from single-digit lows after the first lockdown from March until May. Schools have been closed, but Israelis are still allowed to go to work and gather in small groups. They are also allowed to protest. The Winston-Salem and Forsyth County Arts Council announced the winners of their mask designing contest. So the Best North Carolina Mask Award went to this mask right here, made by Henry Johnson, who stitched 6 different state symbols on his cloth mask. The Best Pro Mask and Best Overall went to this mask. Susan Adams owns a small leather working business. She says she was inspired by the movie Alien. And the People's Choice Award went to Lauren Desai of Aperture Cinema, who said she wanted to create something to remind us of the magic of cinema that she hopes we'll all be able to share again soon.
We all know that most people are attached to their phones. A new study asked people what they'd give up to keep their smartphone, and the results are pretty surprising. 40% of people say they'd rather be separated from their dog for a month than their smartphone. 44% of millennials said they'd give up their significant other for a month. My goodness. 72% of respondents said they choose to be separated from alcohol, and 64% chose their phone over coffee. So I asked you on Facebook today, what would you be willing to give up for your smartphone? Let's get into some of the comments here. Natalie Weiner says pizza. I would give up pizza in order to keep my cell phone. For those that know me, know I am a pizza addict. But thank God I don't have to make a choice. And I can't believe someone said their dog. Yeah, I'm with you there. Babo said, I would give up scrambled eggs in salsa. And Michelle just wrote, this is a hard one, LOL. Now, I agree with you, Michelle, especially when you don't have any choices and you have to just come up with something out of the blue. Like many people in that survey, I guess I would give up alcohol. I would maybe even give up Nutella to have my smartphone.
That's a
It's
big
that
deal.
serious.
I know that's a big deal for you, Tahisha.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that 40%
It
of
is.
people said that they'd give up their dog. I saw this headline and I was like, no, people, no. If you are that willing to give up your pet, you don't need a pet to begin with. That's all I'll say about that.
So yeah, you can't do that. But I really, it was a shocker when that lady said pizza. Really?
I'd give up pizza for my phone.
I don't know if I can do that.
It's just a
I'll have
month.
to think about that. Let's go. Oh, a month. Okay, all right. Well, then pizza's gone. Not the dog. Let's talk about our forecast, shall we? Yeah, Fido's got to stay. Sorry. 71 degrees in Reedsville right now, 70 in Greensboro, 69 in Winston-Salem. Walnut Cove, you're at 72. We go with 68 in Asheboro, 71 Mount Airy, and 70 in Wilkesboro. So overall, we're comfortable, right? The temperatures are not bad. It gets even better over the next couple of days before we see a rain chance start to slip back in. 50 will be the overnight low tonight. We will see just a couple of clouds here and there. It is beautiful today, even better tomorrow with 76 degrees. I think we'll end up probably low 70s today for highs, and then tomorrow that 76 degree reading. Now we'll go out to the big picture here. So the eastern half or the southeastern quadrant, let's say, of the United States, and look at all that moisture, the rain that is from Beta, that storm system that moved ashore. Some of that is moving in our direction, and what that means for us is possibly, I think it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll keep it between a 20 and a 40% chance. We don't think it's going to be heavy rain for long periods of time, but it is going to bring some shower activity. It's just a little unsettled. So get ready for that. Highs will be 76 tomorrow, 74 Thursday, low 70s Friday, but mid 70s through your weekend with that slight rain chance even in to the beginning of next week.
All right, people, it is time to test your feats of strength.
You can't arm wrestle through the screen though, Eric.
All right, it really is just a common skill. I want to see if you can flip a coin.
Okay.
Maddie, here's yours. Chilton, you've got a coin? Okay.
Ooh.
So
let's
flip the coin. Let's see what we have. Heads or tails?
Heads.
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 Whoa, what are the odds?
All right, well, it's such an arbitrary thing, right? But a coin flip is how it's going to decide which candidate is listed on your ballot first.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought it was alphabetical order.
It is alphabetical order after a coin flip. Okay, so let's take a look. I didn't know this until a viewer asked about it. Nick wrote, how is the order of listing candidates decided on our 2020 election ballot? I noticed that mostly Republicans are listed first. Is that by chance? Honestly, guys, there isn't just a coin flip, okay? Because you're already, I see, Chilton, I see your face like, seriously? But there's a random drawing involved in this too.
He's speechless.
I'm shocked that that decides it. Like, I can't believe it.
Right.
And a random drawing. So we're going to kind of take this all and put it all together and tell you how it works between the random drawing and this coin flip. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. We're also answering your questions today too. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to take your questions right to Guilford County school leaders. They're in to answer your questions about the upcoming meeting on Thursday and how reopening could impact your family. So text your question to 336-379-5775. Too. Coming up at 5:30, we're going to take your questions right to Guilford
Let's
County
talk.
school
1, 2,
leaders.
3, 4,
They're
5.
to answer your questions about the upcoming meeting on Thursday and how reopening could impact your family.
There you go. That should be better.
It's been quite a year for all of us, and a Twitter trend, that's hard to say, Twitter trend is giving people a laugh as they show where they are now versus where they were in January. So Jalen Gilkey, you've been looking at these posts on social media for us today. How are people looking from January to now?
It's not looking so great, Tahisha. But we do our first photo, if we could pull it up. This is a great one here. We got a young lady here. She said in January, we got this picture on the left and on the right. In September, she's pregnant. There have been some new developments. Now, if we go to our next photo, this is kind of more like what everybody else has going on. In January, we were kind of more put together, more organized. And by September, we're a bit of a mess now. Then, this is probably my favorite one. Next comes from Caden. He said he was sleep deprived then, but now it's really getting bad. He's sleep deprived now. But we got another positive one that came from Chase. Chase and grew his hair out and dyed it. Nice smile, man. And then our last one comes from Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda says he ate too many snacks and has taken too many naps, and he cannot no longer fit his robe. And I feel that because I'm up a pant size.
That quarantine 15 will get you, Jalen. You look great. All right, so Tahisha and I hopped on this trend. You can see Tahisha's photos here. This girl started out the year so strong. She got engaged. She became a fiance in January, and then in September, Tahisha, this photo cracks me up. It's okay. You still got the blink. You're looking good. Mine, on the other hand, in January, I was at a concert in a stadium full of people. September, I'm still happy. I just am wearing a mask, so you can't see my smile as easily. Tahisha, you win. You win this challenge.
Yeah, girl, I look rough. That's me in the morning when I have my turban on. Wiggy's not on yet, but it's just like, I was so excited to plan this wedding, you know, thinking things were going to happen. And now it's like, I just lose motivation.
Well, it'll happen. You still have the love of your life. You're going to get to marry.
Yes.
I'm all about these silver linings these days.
Yes, please. I'm about it too.
Feel free to share your photos with us. Use the hashtag 4to5 so we can see them. We'll be right back.
Hi, Miss Tasha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hey there, mic check 1, 2, 3. Here's the last hurrah, people. This may be my favorite story, not only of the week, but of the month. This all started in the downstairs of a library at UNCG back in 1980. It is the saga of the 40-year-old donut, a tall tale with a tasty ending. Audrey Sage with UNCG let me in on the story of the never-ending donut. So Audrey, this is, how I missed this story, I will never know. But tell me how this all got started with this donut 40 years ago.
As the story goes, in 1980, there were two fellows here, Jack and Jim, working, and there was a staff orientation party where they served donuts. And there was this one last donut left on the plate, a cake donut, and nobody wanted to eat the last donut on the plate. And so after a few days of sitting on the plate, and for a while they'd been trying to get the campus radio station to come in on their radio, and they had strung wires up to get better reception. And Jack thought they should hang the donut up on one of the wires and see if that helped to get the reception. And as soon as he did, the radio station came in clear as a bell, as it is told. So after hanging there for 5 years from that wire, then in 1985, and then they said, we need to have a party for the donut. So for every 5 years, there's been a party. Now we're up to 40 years of the donut.
So what's happening in October to commemorate the donut? There's something special happening here.
The University Communications contacted Dunkin' Donuts, and they wanted to do a big celebration. So Dunkin's going to create 3 different donuts and have people vote on their favorite one. And the proceeds from that will go to benefit the Spartan Pantry here.
Well, I am honored that I got to be, at least virtually, in the presence of said donut. So wish he or she, you said gender neutral, donut, a happy birthday from all of us at WFMY News 2. Perfect. The donut is, I love the fact that it's in a black velvet glass case. Like, that cracks me up. All right, so I asked you on Facebook, just kind of in that same light here, who has the best donuts in the Triad? And here you go. People get really testy when they think that the one place in their area has the best. Scott Ward says Daily Donuts in Graham, followed closely by Di Stefano's in Mebane. Deb Johnny Murray says the Glaze King in Ashboro. See, these are all places I have to try now. Frank says, nope, Paul's Pastry Shop in Burlington on Church Street, better than all of them, trust me. Jewel Banzay says Krispy Kreme straight off the line, melt in your mouth, period, the end. Linda says Paul's in Burlington runs rings around the chain stores. And Dolores Jones says Granny's Donuts in High Point. There are 3 places there that I've never been to that I will try out. But back to the story real quick, guys. Love the fact that they keep this donut down there and have a celebration every 5 years.
40 years old. Should I be concerned that the donut still looks like okay?
I know. They must have put something on it.
Right. It's what is in that donut. It's a little concerning. But I will say, I have a list of places to try now, Chilton, too, because the only donut places I've been to in the Triad is Duck Donuts and Krispy Kreme. So
those are good.
Clearly I have some work to do.
Yeah, that's a good start, Tahisha. All I'm thinking about is, like, I want the donuts anti-aging tips from UNCG. Like, what creams is it using?
We're going to get the secrets from the donut. Yes, we're going to do an interview with the donut. All right, let's talk about a forecast. There's an anti-aging cream somewhere waiting to be discovered. Clouds and rain are heading in our direction, not in the short term. It may take a couple of days before it gets here. But by the weekend, we're looking at a 20 to 40% chance of a scattered shower here or there. So the cool, breezy conditions we had today probably give way to slightly warmer air as we head into the next day or two. So tonight's overnight low will be 50 degrees for our low, and a few clouds here or there. The high tomorrow at 76. Warmer than today, because today we're probably going to top out in the low 70s or right at 70 to 72 in that range, depending on where you live. But tomorrow up to 76, we'll jump around a little bit, little seesaw with the temperatures over the next few days. But that general unsettled weather does move in for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it kind of hangs in there for Monday and Tuesday. But these rain chances aren't huge, right? They're 20 to 40% for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a 30% on Monday, Tuesday. Look at temperatures going up to 76 tomorrow, very comfortable, 74 on Thursday. Both of those days, pleasant, dry. We'll probably see partly cloudy skies. Friday, a chance of rain will be in the low 70s, then bounce back a little bit temperature-wise as we go to 75 for your Saturday and Sunday. Looking at overnight lows, not all that bad, really. We were in the 40s for a while. Now we're looking at 50s for the most part and warming to the 60s by the end of the weekend and the first part of next week. Again, kind of locked in that 74 to 75 degree range for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, although we think Tuesday, a lot of that rain will start to fizzle out and we'll go mostly dry. So if you're looking to do something outside, the window here is probably Wednesday, Thursday, and then once we get to the weekend, you'll just see a hit or miss scattered shower here or there. Again, not a washout. And by the time we get to the first part of next week, we'll start to dry out again. Decent weather, though, temperature-wise, for the next 7 days.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, we are on top of Governor Roy Cooper's announcement that large outdoor venues like football stadiums can reopen at 7% capacity starting next week. How other restrictions could also be eased. That's next at 5.